What is going on, guys? It's Pat out in the shop. My last video I found out I did need longer push rods. I actually had a set, so that was pretty kind of a bonus. So tonight I'm gonna put in these push rods and I'm gonna set the valve lash. So this video is about how to set the valve lash properly on a hydraulic lifter. You know, some guys say you have to do it running, some guys say there's lots of different ways to do it. This is the way I've done it. I've never had an issue. So I do cylinder to cylinder. Some guys kind of jump around. Oh, top dead here, you can set this one. I just do cylinder to cylinder. This is just the way I do it. It's just easier for me. It's just the way I've always done it. So first off, I want to make a little tech tip about push rods. These are used set of push rods, very low kilometers on them. But always check your push rods, your ball ends, make sure there's no damage, and always check to make sure that you can blow through them on these small block Chevys. Make sure that there's no debris in there. I've recently had a set of push rods, a brand new set of push rods, and there was like debris inside. It looked almost like a white powder, like almost like car wax when it dries. It was like inside the push rod. So I actually had to clean each one of them out and blow them out with air. So I always recommend looking through them and then blowing them out with air, new or used. Like I said, those were a new set, and I don't know how many of them plugged. So I'm so glad I check it. It's just something I always do. I would have figured it out when I primed the motor. I would have saw the oil was coming out of the push rods, but it's always good to not have to do the job twice. So check those push rods, make sure everything's looking good, and go on from there. So I've already cleaned all these and blow them out, so these are ready to go in. So first off, I already got all the rockers arms on, as you can see. So we're just going to start dropping these push rods in. But first, actually, what I like to do is to just put a drop of oil in all the lifters where the push rods are going. Now you can put your push rods in. Go. And then what I normally do is I take my assembly grease and I just do a dab on each tip of the push rod. Just here my assembly grease, and then I do the tips of the valves. There we go. Now we can get these sort of situated. There we go. So I start off with number 1. I don't do 1, 2, 3, 4. I do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's not like your normal small block Chevy fire generator, and I'll show you why in a second. So we're going to start off with number 1 here. So what you want to do is you want to roll the motor over to ratchet. So take your ratchet on your crank pulley, and you want to watch your intake valve come up. I think I was just at top dead center, but we're going to do this again. So see the intake valve lifter coming up? Now let that go down. Then put your finger in the spark plug hole and get that until it stops. So you want that piston at top dead center after the intake valve closes. So that's your position you want to set the rockers at. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your ratchet on the nut of your rocker arm. You're going to grab your top of your push rod, bottom push rod, wherever you feel comfortable, and you're going to turn it gently. So you can see that on camera. Turn it gently and then tighten your rocker arm. You can do that too to kind of get you close. So you want to feel just until there's resistance on the push rod. So there you go. There's just resistance on the push rod, and then stop. Even if you don't want to like wait a second, try it. Just that's it. Just stop. Make sure there's no play. So that's what you call zero lash. So I'm going to do that with the other side with the intake valve. So close, spin, right there. So from here, so right now you're at 0 lash. Some guys preload their lifters, and what preload means is right now the lifter is not pushed in the plunger. You want, they say about 50 thou the plunger to be pushed into the lifter. That gives you room for a little bit of expansion contraction on your valve train, which is the benefit of why hydraulic lifters are so quiet. So right now we're at 0. So what we want to do is wind that plunger down into the lifter. So some guys do half a turn, some guys do a full turn, some racing stuff's a quarter of a turn. On something like this, I would do 3/4 of a turn. So take your ratchet, bring it around to the bottom like that. So there's half a turn, 3/4 of a turn. Half a turn, 3/4 of a turn. There. That's it. One cylinder done. Everything's preloaded, everything's good to go. These should look fairly similar between these two. So I always double check that. Make sure that these are somewhat similar length to know everything's kind of sitting properly. There, so now we're going to go on to the next cylinder. So again, you can see why I do it this way. See how the intake valve is opening already? It's on its way down. Finger in the spark plug hole. Top dead center. There you go, and you're going to do the same thing. Half, 3/4. Half, 3/4. There you go. That one's done. Again, similar. Perfect. Everything's looking good. The intake valve just closed. Finger in the spark plug hole. Top dead center. Perfect. Again, on this side, intake valve's closing. Valves are set. I've never had any noise, valve train noise, doing it that way. 3/4 of a turn is what I recommend, unless the lifter manufacturers say something else. Sometimes ½ inch is good too, is high performance stuff. And like I said, some really high performance hydraulic lifters are 1/4. But half to a full turn is where you want it. And if you notice, doing it in that order, rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, you're almost always coming right off of like the intake coming down, so it's quick. You don't have to turn the motor over that much. Just make sure as you're going you see that intake valve close and get that piston to top dead center, and then just go through and set them all, and you should be good. That's about it with the small block Chevys. Nice and easy, nice and simple. Hydraulic lifters are nice and quiet. Yeah, so please like and subscribe. Next video we'll be putting on the intake, timing cover, and trying to get this thing buttoned up.